Here we are on another installment of the origin story of what led me to launch a YouTube channel called Life to the Full, Real Conversations about Jesus. Now, that channel is not yet launched yet. It is only in my mind. But the purpose of these videos is to take us to a point in time to where we get that channel launched. I'm going to need some help to do that, so I'm building the story behind it. This part of the story is from about a year ago, a little over a year ago. I found this guy on Instagram. His name is Steve Weatherford, and started following him, and I thought, man, this guy has really got a powerful story. Turns out he is a former NFL player, actually won the Super Bowl. He was on the Super Bowl winning New York Giants team, and he shared a story that after they won that game, he hit the pinnacle of everything he had worked for his entire life. He went into a deep depression and started getting into things that were destructive. His marriage was really struggling. He was dealing with some addictions to drugs, and he was also having suicidal thoughts. But then he went to an event and met Jesus, basically. Totally did a 180-degree turnaround in his life, and now he's totally dedicated to helping men discover their faith as well and get victory over those burdens that he experienced in his life. And so he does events now, and he's based in Frisco, Texas. And so I went down to his event last July 2024. It's called Launching Pad, and it's just 2 days. Got down there on a Friday and a Saturday, and there's like 30 guys there. And I'm the oldest one. They're all like 18 to 35 years old, very successful guys, very fit. And what really surprised me, I went to, basically get the smoke from Steve, like, dude, you're fired up. I want to get fired up too about my faith. I'm hungry. I want to take my faith to the next level. And one of the things I discovered is that Steve created this very safe place for men to be vulnerable and honest. And guys were sharing their stories and where they're at in life right now. And my eyes were just opened up to the struggles these guys were having. I just had no idea. And from gambling to lust and pornography to drugs, alcohol, greed, violence, anger, just all those kind of things. A lot of it came from fatherlessness or really bad fathers in their lives that have kind of like manifested as adults. And wow, I just had no idea that this was so prevalent for men. And then I thought, well, if this is happening here in this room, it must be happening in my community. And I felt convicted, like I should be aware of this. I'm living in a bubble, and I should be like involved in helping guys overcome these burdens because it's possible. And so I was really fired up about that. The next day, on Saturday, we get in there, and Steve says, hey, pair up with one other guy, and what you're going to do is I'm going to give you an hour and a half. You have 90 minutes to go out into the streets of Frisco, Texas, and share the gospel with somebody. And immediately I felt my heart just start beating really fast, and I get sweaty, and I'm nervous, and I'm like, what? We're going to go street evangelize? Okay, this is not something I do. So I jumped in the car with the guy I was with, and I just confessed. I said, man, I cannot believe it. I'm 60 years old. I have known Jesus for decades, and I honestly cannot remember just sharing the gospel with someone randomly, just on the street. And I go, what's it been like for you? And he said, actually, I have a similar story. It's basically the same. I'm like, all right, dude, we're going to do this together then. So we, oh man, the nervousness, just like, how do we do this? And it was embarrassing, actually. I thought, I just like praying to God, going, Lord, I'm so sorry that I've been such a coward when it comes to sharing the most important thing in my life with other people. I was like, what's going on? Like, what's the dissonance that's going on in my head? And during that, I realized that I just have a fear of man, and I worry way too much about the opinions of other people. We ended up having a great experience. We went to a coffee shop, and we had someone wait on us, and we shared the gospel with her in a really clunky way. And she said, I do know Jesus. I made a decision for him. I've fallen away. I've actually been praying that someone would reach out to me, and you're my answer to prayer. So it was an incredible, it was this really cool experience. But I came back from that trip with two things. Well, actually three things. I'll talk about the third in a minute. But the first thing is, men are dealing with serious burdens in their life in this culture today, and I want to be part of helping men overcome that. Number two is, I want to share the gospel, because why am I letting fear hold me back? And then the third thing was that Steve talked about this thing called the Bema seat, B-E-M-A. It's also called the judgment seat of Christ. And it's where believers, when we go to heaven, Jesus is going to sit on this throne, on this Bema seat, and he's going to look at each one of us and say, it's like to me, he would say, Tim, awesome, so glad you're here, so glad you accepted, salvation. I gave you so much. I gave you so many gifts and talents and abilities. What did you do with what I gave you? And I realized that I am not living up to my potential. I want that Bema seat moment to just be like, Jesus, I left it all on the field for you. I mean, I just went for it. I didn't let fear hold me back. I pushed through, and I think I impacted some lives. I don't know that I could say that right now. And so these are things that have led up to launching this YouTube channel. So I've got a couple more stories to tell you about before we get to the channel itself, but I wanted to share this part of the journey with you today.